So here's my confession. This time, I just want you to look away, be your obsession. I want to be your obsession.
I'm not saying anything because I'm just looking at the look on Aaron's face because he's waiting for me to say something. Hakuna Malhala, everybody. This is Russ Wayback with the Good Podcast, coming to you from the gorgeous Alive and Social Network studios in Minneapolis here. Say hello to all of our wonderful listeners, Aaron. This is the beautiful Aaron here sitting across from me.
Hello, wonderful listeners.
And I have a plethora of things to talk about today, but I wanted to bring up and mention one of the other shows. We've got so many fantastic shows on the Alive and Social Network here. And I wanted to talk about Joan of Art. I feel so regal whenever I talk about that show, just because it's just so formal and it's so creative and artsy, so to speak. I want to meet her because, it's just I think about her riding up on a horse. Does she ride up to do her podcast on a horse in full armor or something like that? With a sword?
She might. I haven't seen her pull up.
Ready to conquer everything and conquer the art world. I actually find the show very fascinating because art intimidates me. I'm a firm believer with art that you should just buy what you enjoy. But what Joan, and I love her last name, Vorgerbruggen. Say that 3 times fast, everybody. She ends up talking about, celebrating your life through art, and on her weekly podcast, of course, through Live and Social. But she also has lots of interesting guests on this past week, as Aaron mentioned. She had on the gentleman that did the Bob Dylan mural, who I'm not a fan of Bob Dylan. Hate on me all you want. And so please check out Joan of Art and listen to her show. She's on Mondays at 1 p.m. Otherwise, if you want to listen to it live. Otherwise, you can listen via Spreaker or through Alive and Social Network and check out our show. So to learn more, of course, about all of our shows here, go to aliveandsocial.com and check out all of our other shows. So we're going to start out. First of all, I want to start out by saying that I did my first blab this last Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it was one day this past week. It all is muddled together. We'll talk about why that's happened. Daylight savings time. Saving time has really fucked with my life. But I did a blab, and for those of you who don't know what a blab is, it's a live video stream of my blog. I had my sister on, and I also had my best friend Natalie on, and we talked about what the topic of the conversation technically was the complacent straight man syndrome. But what I really was more interested, or the subliminal message was, are straight men phoning it in. And I think, I learned a couple of things. Of course, we had William who kept coming back. You can check it out. I don't know. Did it get uploaded anywhere besides on Blab? I know we talked about uploading it to YouTube.
It's on our Good Podcast page, the audio from it.
Perfect. And I knew about that. So people can listen to that. You can also, I think, click on the Blab link and watch it still. I don't know, because I don't think that goes down like it does with Periscope.
Nope, should still be up.
After 24 hours, your video only lasts 24 hours on Periscope, which you can find me on Periscope, but don't follow me on Periscope unless you want to see me in the sauna. But it was a lot of fun. My takeaway from it was to be a little bit kinder and explain a little bit more. I feel like we need to be a little bit more genteel with the straight man and acknowledge that he, put the dishes away from the dishwasher and let him know, honey, thank you so much for folding the laundry. But you can hear sarcasm in my voice. That's purposeful. But do check it out and let me know your thoughts. I'll be doing more blabs next Friday. As an FYI, I've got the VP of casting for Fox Television that's going to be on with me, Seth Yankowitz, which I'm super, super excited about that. If you're interested in the television business, if you're thinking to yourself, what would it take to get cast on a show? Or what are the things, the processes the things that I need to go through to kind of get to myself to that point before a casting director would ever even look at me or listen to me. Outside of him seeing me on a street corner going, hey, would you like to be in a popular television series? Because you've got that look. That really doesn't happen very often. Although that would happen to you, Aaron.
Hasn't yet.
Well, it should, because you're adorable. But he will be on, and I'm very, very excited about that. So let's start out by talking about daylight saving time. It has never affected me before. Never, not once in my entire life. I don't know if this is a sign I'm getting old, Aaron, or what is going on. But ever since that day came into place, or maybe it's because it happened later on this year, I've just been thrown into a laundromat, for God's sake. I've been going to bed by 6. Normally I'm in bed by 8, so really I'm only giving myself an extra hour, really, but still an hour earlier than normal. And I've been so crabby. Like, everything has been irritating me besides you. You could never irritate me. Have you noticed anything with this daylight saving time kicking in? Are you...
I just always hate it when it gets
You
dark
hate
out
it?
at
Well,
6
yeah.
o'clock.
Well, it's dark up by 5.
Yeah.
I don't remember why I was... I'm trying to think about why I was in Minneapolis yesterday. You know, of course, there's that whole thing. I was just talking with Kelly McDonald, who's on Fox. I'm also, for those of you who don't know, I'm on fox9.com here locally. And she just moved back here from Seattle. And she lives in St. Paul. I'm on the St. Paul side. And we were just talking about how people in Minneapolis think that going over the river is a day's journey. They'll need supplies, like maybe they need to bring food rations or extra bottled water, maybe a compass. You know, what if I get lost? What's going to happen?
You never know if you're going to make it back.
Right. That's what people think. And it's almost like I was telling her how funny it is that you can be talking to someone and they're really hyped up about getting together with you, say going out or something like that. And they're like, oh, well, where do you live? And then you go, well, I live in St. Paul. And then there's, you can just see it in their face. Oh, like, and then usually the first words out of their mouth then are, well, do you want to come over to Minneapolis? And it's like, it's only 10 minutes. It's not that far. And when I lived out in Stillwater, man, getting people to come out to Stillwater, that was a weekend trip to most people. They would be like, well, do I need to get a reservation at a bed and breakfast? Or, well, we'll make sure that we get up super early to get out to Stillwater. And I was just like, it's just a half an hour. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. For as much time as most people sit in traffic every day, it's not like Chicago. I mean, Chicago traffic is awful. Well, traffic in New York is even worse, but it has just hit me. I'm trying to stay away from as many people as I know that will irritate me, which that's a pretty big list, and not talk about anything important. I'm really trying to not talk about or make any. That is my whole rule. Whenever I'm crabby, I can't make any important life decisions. That's just not possible. If you want to force me into one, I'm telling you, I will not make a decision or rule on that at this point. So let me know if daylight saving time is fucking your life up like it is mine, because I am just completely out of context and everything in my world. I even posted a picture about it. That was the only highlight of my week so far, has been the fact that I go to the gym. That's been my only constant. The one thing that I can control in my world is going to the gym. And it's so, when I was there today, I actually took a picture because I was realizing how therapeutic it was to be there and sweating and just focusing on me. And I thought to myself, when I started working out almost a year ago, and we were, or I was, not we, I was working out by myself. But I think if someone would say to me, this is after I posted it, I thought, well, if someone said to me, oh, well, when you're stressed out, you should work out. I think just to start out doing it, no, I don't think you've got the mindset. You have to kind of get into that groove when you're working out. Do you work out, Aaron?
I don't.
I was going to say, I think you're just naturally skinny. And, or fit looking is a better way to put it. But once you've worked out for a while, you kind of realize that going to the gym is kind of it's really more of a big mental exercise than it is a physical exercise, because you're mentally trying to prepare yourself to get through all those exercises. So it's just like when I'd gone to CrossFit, you just got to push everything out. So like I said, exercise has really been, I think that's what's finally going to pull me out of my slump, Aaron, besides maybe a little alcohol this weekend. And hopefully I'll get over this. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I'm thinking, what's scaring me is that Thanksgiving is like 2 days away. It's really not, but that's the way it feels in my world. I'm already talking about Thanksgiving things on the show. And, it's kind of scaring me because, after Thanksgiving, then 2 days later is Christmas, and then it's, 2016 is here. I can't believe I even can say that because Y2K seemed like it just happened last week. Are you old enough to remember Y2K? Oh, yeah, you're old enough. You're such a young little puppy, Aaron. It's crazy. But one of the things, and as usual, I always like to start out too by talking about what I covered on Fox for anybody that had a little bit of questions about it. On Tuesday, I talked about collecting platters. I had about a third of my platter collection on the show. And it's always fascinating to me when I'm pulling these things for the show, because I always go, are people that are watching me going to secretly abduct me after the show and blindfold me and then take me to some room, and a producer for Hoarders is gonna, then have some conversation with me about my problem? Or are people gonna look at it and go, oh, that's because that to me is kind of my inspiration. I feel like I'm a little bit of it's a guilty pleasure, because when Martha Stewart had her show, The Good Show, not the one that she had after prison, because that one was just kind of a hack. She never did well in front of an audience because she doesn't mingle well with people. She's that kind of a Leo. I think there's two different kinds of Leos. I'm a Leo, so I can pontificate about this. I think there's the friendly ones, and then I think there's the arrogant assholes who just are very entitled. And I'm entitled. I have an entitled mentality, but she is just ruthless. Anyways, but when she was scripted, she was lovely. I loved it when she just had to read a teleprompter and stand there. What do they call those people? A talking head. She was kind of just a talking head. Everybody was basically taking care of every word that came out of her mouth. That's the only kind of Martha that I liked. But she would do these segments on her show where she would talk about a particular thing that she collected, or how she would set a table, and there was something very romantic to me about it. And so it's weird to be in a position now in my career, and after hoarding for 20 years through Williams-Sonoma, to be able to do that myself and go, oh, well, here's my well and tree ironstone platter from Williams-Sonoma that I bought back in 1994, and that's made in England and stuff like that. But it's nice to have people respond to me. I've never once done one of those episodes, and someone has actually, and maybe because I just get out there right away and go, yes, I'm a hoarder, or I have a problem, buying shit. But which I get that all from my mother. I'm going to have my sister on too sometime soon, and we'll talk about, all of our PTSD from our mom. No disrespect to anyone with actual PTSD, so just make sure that I put that out there. But anyway, so I talked about platters, and to me, a couple of the takeaways with respect to a platter is, just as I think it is with anything that you're buying for your home, invest in what you obviously can afford. Get the best quality that you can afford. And if you can't get a platter for, say you find something and you're walking around and you see a beautiful platter that you'd love to get, but it's like $100 or something at the store, especially around the holidays, tell yourself, listen, I'm going to lay low this year, but I'm going to watch that platter, because generally right after the holiday, most of those things go 25 to 50% down. And a lot of people, unlike myself, aren't looking for 100 platters. So if you keep an eye on it, you can generally get a really good deal. And if it's a beautiful platter, that's something that, as long as you're investing in a really good quality platter, it will last you for a lifetime. So, as long as you take care of it, that's something that you can pass down. Which is always what I tell my daughter, and then she rolls her eyes. She's like, yeah, you're going to pass down 100 platters. Like, I need all those. But I'm just like, well, you can sell them then. You can make money. Put them on eBay or whatever. But she'll probably just throw them in, I don't know, like a big dumpster or something like that. And but the other thing I also wanted to share about the platters is I don't know if a lot of people have ever had this happen, or you have it happen and you're like, why does this happen? And, you plate your turkey. I prefer to have my turkey on my platter cut up. I don't like that look of carnage on my table. It's beautiful to bring your perfectly, browned turkey, whole turkey to the table and have it sitting there. But as soon as you've cut into part of it, then it just looks like roadkill on your table. So I have a tendency to make my turkey a complete offshoot, which is what I do. I have a tendency to put my turkey breast side down into one of those large roasters that you can get at Target or Fleet Farm. Around, say between 3 and 6, the day before the holiday, and then at 200, and I just cook the shit out of that thing until it's time to eat the next day, and everything falls apart. It's just like when you braise a roast. It's delicious. It's wonderful, and the breast, those lobes of that white meat just come off, and you can still bring it to the table. In those larger sections, so that way it still presents beautifully. It's easier to cut. You don't have to, take some course in how to carve a turkey. But the way to keep the meat warm, which is where I originally was coming at, is, and a lot of times no one has a sink, and unless you put it into a tub, which you could do that because I have some fairly large platters, to warm up your platter, because your oven is usually always filled with stuffing and that amazing sweet potato thing with the marshmallows and the pecans on the top. Do you like that, Aaron?
I don't like sweet potatoes.
Oh, man, I love that marshmallow. I usually put marshmallows on one side and then the pralined pecans on the other side, so that way people can kind of pick and choose which one they like, or mix them together, whatever ones they want to do. But having a warm platter, having your platter warmed before you put the meat on it, will actually help to keep that meat warmer longer. Not like an hour longer, but it will keep it long enough for actually everybody to have an initial serving. And if you don't want to put it into the tub, or if you've got a sink big enough, just fill it with warm water, or actually hot water. But you want to start out warm. If it's a old platter that potentially could craze, which is that crackling in the glaze, you don't want to use anything above warm water, because the hot water will actually make it craze. But if you don't want to do either one of those, one thing that won't make it craze, but that way you can it will slowly warm it up, which is why I like to do it, is put it into a heating blanket. And that way it'll actually keep that platter, warm, and let it sit in there for a while. So that way that platter, gets solidly temperaturified is the word that I'm going to make up for today. And it works like a dream. It really, really does. So last thing you could potentially do, if it doesn't matter to you, and if you're serving things buffet style, is you could put that platter onto a warming tray, which you can usually find reasonably priced at Target during the holidays. I think they're only like $20, but $20 is a lot of money to some people. So, and then what I did today on the show, hopefully that answered. Of course, I'm pontificating about platters for 8 hours, but what I talked about today were I had the winners for the chili contest up in Cross Lake. I was one of the judges for the Cross Lake chili contest. As some of you may know, I have a quote-unquote wink, wink family cabin up in Nisswa, Minnesota. My sister lives up there, so it's technically a family cabin, right? Because she's family. And but I got invited to be one of the judges for the Cross Lake chili contest, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And just was so much fun. Ended up sampling around 40 chilies that day. I love chili, so I could just eat chili all day long. And when it was done, I honestly thought, is that all? Like, we're done? And because they were actually fairly significant samples. But I chose two as my winners, and one seemed like a queso chili. And after I got the recipe, come to find out there was no cheese in it at all. And then the second one was a jerk chicken chili, and it was served not when we got it, but I know that when they were serving it out for the samples for the people who are walking around town. And to go there, it always, it happens in the fall. For anybody who's interested in going to that, it's free. It's completely free. You can go and sample chili all day long for free. It's crazy. But there's a ton of people, and people will run out of chili because they don't have the ability to make chili for thousands of people. And I learned from two of the people that have served and won that that's kind of the goal, is that as long as you don't run out of chili, people can still vote for you. So even if your chili isn't okay, you know what I mean? Even if your chili's just okay, as long as you're getting votes, that counts in your favor because you get more votes. So, but the jerk chicken chili was served with a coconut cinnamon rice, which actually was like a jasmine rice that was cooked in coconut milk and cinnamon stick. It had some garlic and ginger, and it was really, really delicious. So it was fun being able to share those recipes because my goal was to find a chili recipe that was unique and interesting, not kind of typical mom hamburger, cans of tomatoes and things like that. So the recipes for that are on, you can go to fox9.com actually, if you go to fox9.com/morning, it should pull up. You should be able to find the tab that's got my name on it, and the recipes will link there. There's probably a video up by now of it as well, so that way you can see what the chilies are. I found that both of them took probably 30 minutes from start to finish, including prep time. Which was really, really great because they don't require a lot of simmering and reduction, so to speak. So check those recipes out. They really were delicious. I was going to bring some in for you guys, but they ate it all. They're just like scavengers at the station. It's crazy. But those people have been up since 2 o'clock in the morning. And speaking of chili contests and going up north, then it makes me think about Wisconsin. And Sean had brought up about how there's a video out right now on YouTube, I guess, about a buck, or I don't know, maybe it was a doe. Do you know, Aaron?
I think he said a buck. He said a buck walks into a bar, and we thought he was telling us a joke.
I thought it was a joke, but it turns out it wasn't a joke. So I have to try and find this video, and maybe I can find it here and we can get it out. Or maybe, I suppose, though, you don't have access to the Facebook page, but I can find the video and then get it up on the Facebook page so that way we can all see what it is. But it reminded me of the first time, my first Wisconsin bar experience. I'd never been, believe it or not, I hadn't been to a Wisconsin bar until I had come out of the closet. And here I was heading to this bed and breakfast with my boyfriend at the time to, I forget the name of the city, but I remember it's called Spider Lake Lodge, and it was beautiful. The lodge was absolutely gorgeous. I'm thinking maybe it's in Holton. I don't know. But anyway, my boyfriend at the time ended up getting lost. He was driving because he was driving he had to be fancy. He was driving a Jaguar, and I felt all fancy because my boyfriend drove a Jaguar, and we were going to Wisconsin. But he was lost, and that's the one thing about me as a man I'm not typical of. I'll ask for directions. If I think I'm lost, and this was before, it's smartphones and GPS and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we had smartphones, but I don't think GPS was and maps was as popular as it is now. So anyway, we had to stop at a bar because I had to go pee. But we were like in nowhere, and it was dark. I wasn't scared, just for the record. So we go into the bar. I have to go pee, and the bar's the size of this room. It's really not that big at all. Not that I'm saying anything about this room. And so I walk in, and the first door that I see says, and to me, it said does. Okay? And the first thing that went through my mind was, fucking Wisconsin people. Like, do you have to be so crazy that it's like, oh, we've got a door for does and a door for does not? Meaning, you've got a dick or you don't have a dick. That's the way I perceived it. So I walked in, and there was a woman, and I thought, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? And I said, excuse me. And she goes, excuse me? I'm like, this door said does. And she's like, it's does, idiot. And I was like, oh. And then the other door said bucks. Oh my God. So that was my first, and I think that was my last bar experience in Wisconsin. That was so embarrassing. I felt like, how could I be so stupid? Especially because I've hunted. I hunt. And so it was a little, that was my stupid moment. And then after little side thing there. After I was coming to the station today, I noticed that I got a tweet. And even though I'm not big on Twitter, Aaron, whenever someone tweets me, I get excited. I don't know what it is. I think Twitter, I feel like I've just never really understood people. I've got friends who are like, oh my God, I love Twitter. And I get so much business and interaction off of it and connect with so many people. I'm a Facebook person all the way. I feel like there's a USB cable between Facebook and my spinal cord. That's how connected to Facebook I am. But whenever I see that little bird on my phone, I'm like, oh my God, someone tweeted me. Someone tweeted me. I'm so excited. And I looked at it, and here was some Twitter hater. And I wanted to read this because it was kind of funny. I've learned to do this on social media. And I thought I would share with all of you guys how I handle these situations. And so this guy, I won't say who. Of course, if you go to me on Twitter, you'll be able to see who it is. I don't want any hate on him. But he says to me, he's like, Swayback, you'd think if you were a lifestyle expert that you wouldn't wear Harry Carey glasses. And I thought, bitch, don't bring that. And I responded to him and I said, technically, they're Tom Ford frames. Harry Carey's are the Goliath 2x Ultra, but I have those too, by the way. Because I wanted him to know. And I said, best to you, just because I wanted to be, passively aggressively nice to him, which always, I've never had that backfire on me. And he responded to me and was like, that's awesome. Ha 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 ha, kind of a deal. So love your haters. I think there's, something to be said for being nice back to the people who are rude to you, at least trying to do that. I'm not always successful at that. And so Aaron and I were talking about a subject before the show started, and we've talked a little bit about dating. And who's the other hot guy that works here? Not that I don't want to say it. I mean, Grant. We got two single hotties here. And and both of you talked to me about, we were talking about Tinder the other day. And I find this very fascinating because I didn't grow up in that realm where that was what people do. And you were telling me about how you had gone on just one Tinder date. You've gone on a couple.
Same girl, 2 dates.
And the whole premise of Tinder is it's like Grindr. For those of you who don't know what Grindr is an app for gay men that's geographically, I don't know if you want to say geographically based. I forget what it's called. What is that where it like pinpoints where the closest gays are to you?
I don't know.
Literally, when it came out, it was mind-blowing. But you can go on to, of course, and now it's with Tinder too. I'm assuming with Tinder, I've never been on Tinder, where it shows you like distance-wise where these people are and then faces of them. And then, of course, you can click on their profile and see what they're into. So I'm assuming Tinder started out as a straight grinder. Are there gays on Tinder? Is there a gay Tinder?
I don't know. I think it's just everybody's on
It's
there.
just everybody.
Yeah.
Gays, straights,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yep.
The crazy ones, the straight ones who want to have sex with gays, all those.
Everybody.
Because that happens. That does happen, and there's gays who specifically go after straight people. So you went out on a date with this girl on Tinder. Now, was it initially... Were you thinking it was Netflix and chill? For those of you who don't know what Netflix and chill is,
trying to go on.
You wanted an
date.
actual. You were trying to find somebody to cuddle with.
I don't know. I just want to find a nice girl.
A nice girl.
It was
Exactly.
so weird though.
So you met her, or you saw her picture, and you thought that she looked attractive. Because on Grindr, you're not looking for a date; you're just looking for sex. That's all it is, which is nice.
You gotta wine and dine me before you can get there.
Oh, you're like a crock pot that way. And maybe that was a problem. Maybe she was the microwave. That's what they say about the differences between men and women. But you want a little crock pot action in your world. So you want to be. That's so cute because you're so adorable. So you see this girl and you're like, hey, I could get used to waking up to that because that's
Sure.
what we all think. And what was her name? Do you remember her first name?
I don't want to say her name.
Well, her first name.
What if she listens?
It doesn't matter. She doesn't know who you are. What was her first name? We need a name to go off of.
Christina.
Christina. Okay. Do you know how many Christinas there are in the world? Seriously. She's not going to know. So her name was Christina. See, now what I would do is be like, so what did she do for a living? But then that would be a little too telltale-y. And you thought, and how long did you guys talk on Tinder before you... That's so funny because I know what you're trying to draw. You're trying to do it backwards for me, aren't you? You're so sweet.
Didn't work.
No, it didn't work, but that's okay. How long did you guys talk before you met?
I don't know, like a couple of days.
Okay, well, that's somewhat reasonable. And then you didn't go to a movie for your first date, did you? Because
No,
that's
we
the
went
worst
to,
thing anybody should do.
We just went out for dinner.
Just went out for dinner. And where did you go?
Olive Garden.
Oh, well, that's my jam, so that's the perfect place to take me. And what were you thinking when you went? Were you thinking that you were paying for dinner?
Yeah.
That was what you thought would happen, and is that
Yeah.
what did happen?
Yes.
She let you pay for dinner.
Yeah.
And when you offered to pay for dinner, did she say thank you? Did she say, "Oh, I was gonna"? Did she attempt to pull out her card?
She just let it happen.
She just let it happen.
I was cool with it. I was planning on paying.
Right. And was that happening because at that point you were thinking that you were going to try and hit that, or no?
No.
You were just, it was totally platonic still at this point.
Yeah, we just wanted to get to know each other.
And the conversation, was it?
It was fine. I mean, we got a lot. She was really nice, but it's just so strange for me to meet somebody that I don't know. It was so awkward.
Huh. See, and I'm what I went to, of course, I was thinking about your astrological sign because I'm totally into all of that, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with your sign. As I'm a Leo, so I love risks. I love meeting crazy new people. I was impressed you waited a couple days because I thought, well, a couple of hours, I'll meet you for dinner. That's fine. What does it matter? I mean, if I'm meeting you in public, especially at Olive Garden, did you pick her up or did you meet her there?
We just met there.
Perfect. See, so then there's no risk of like you raping her or anything. And but it turned into and was there any kissy action afterwards? Did you go in for
tell
it?
Ross. No, there wasn't.
There wasn't, not on the first date. And so, but there was talk about a second one, getting together again. There was the typical Minnesota, oh, I'd love to see you again. Let's do this again. And of course, then they'll always say yes, even if they mean no.
Yeah.
Just because that's what they do. But there was a second.
There was.
With Christina. So then did you meet again at the second place?
Yep.
She didn't let you pick her up.
I didn't even offer because I don't know. That seems like too much of an investment.
What do you mean that's too much of an investment? Did you?
What if something went horribly wrong and then I had to give her a ride back home?
What do you mean if something went horribly wrong? Like you got into a car accident or something?
No, I don't know. Like the date was weird.
But you already met her once. Why wouldn't you offer to say, hey, what time can I pick you up?
I don't know. I just still felt like she was like a stranger.
That's so interesting. So, and that obviously must have not have gone very well.
I mean, it was fine. She was pretty and nice, but I just really would like to know somebody before I start going out with them. So,
But
it was
how do
just
you-
awkward for me.
Sure. What do you guys think about that? I think I'm assuming just from your dialogue, Aaron, that you're probably a more reserved, shy person.
Oh yeah,
And those of us who have no problems ripping our clothes off in public, like myself, don't really care about stuff like that. We're risk takers. So I can see how there'd be a difference. Did she seem interested in you? Did you get the vibe that she seemed interested?
yeah.
That's so sad. Like, I feel like, poor Christina, if you're listening, which now I hope you are listening, I want you to find me on Facebook, and then you and Aaron and I can go out for coffee. I'll just sit there. And this way the two of you can get to know each other better. You just need a little bit more hand-holding, don't you?
I don't know what I need. It was so weird. Like you're meeting up with a total stranger. You've never
Right.
met this person before.
Right. Here's the keys. I'm gonna tell you. Whenever you go out with someone, even if you know them a little bit, which you technically kind of sort of did. Did you guys chat, or were you guys physically talking on the phone a couple of days beforehand?
Never heard her voice until we met.
Oh wow!
So we were just
And did she look like her picture?
yeah.
Okay. The best thing you should always know whenever you're going on a first date always just keep asking them questions about themselves. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Because people, that's their favorite subject, is themselves. So, and I always find it interesting when I meet someone for the first time, and I'm even talking about just as friends, like I want to learn about them anyways. I want to analyze and see how crazy they are, because then it's like, well, I asked all the questions. They don't find out my crazy. If I realize through my sleuth detective work that you are really, really crazy, then it's like, oh, yeah, then they're always going to get the, oh, my gosh, of course we should totally go out for lunch. But then I never suggest when, because I don't want to see you again type of a deal. And speaking of crazy, guess what? So remember when I was talking about my friend request for the third time?
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
So that was still sitting. It was still sitting there. And Facebook kept notifying me that was sitting there. Finally, I messaged this person and said, I don't understand why you want to send me this friend request after unfriending me twice. And then he kind of gave me a little. Now, of course, I'm bringing up the gender, but he gave me, oh my God, I'm really, really sorry. And I think Facebook must have just, somehow did that, blah, 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 and was very apologetic. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to let it go. And so I accepted this person's friend request, and they want to go out for coffee. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it or not. Part of me wants to, just because there's that Leo hunter, I want to pounce on top of you and just let you know how much power and control, I'm going to have over this relationship type of a deal. But we'll see. I'm so sad about you and Christina. I
don't know.
I could see you guys with kids.
It just didn't click, I guess. I think for me, it's got to happen in everyday real life.
Right. No, and I think, there's that. My daughter met her boyfriend through, I think it was Kik. I don't even know if Kik is still a thing. I'm looking at you. Oh, you don't know. Have you heard of Kik?
Never heard of it.
Okay. And it was funny when she told me about when she met him, that she had met him online through Kik, and I'm like, what's Kik? She goes, oh, it's, it's like Grindr for straight people. And I was like, oh, you mean like Tinder? She goes, yeah, I was on Tinder too. But anyways, they've been together for a year. He's amazing. And she told him from the outset, nothing's happening. But she wanted to tell me about meeting him because she met him out in public and they had spent the day together. I had no idea. I mean, she's 19 now. She's almost 20. But she just wanted me to kind of let her know that she remembered all the things that I told her about personal safety when you're meeting someone for the first time, especially when you are the proud owner of a vagina. You need to be a lot more careful about your safety when you're going out in public and making sure that person doesn't know where you live and stuff like that. But super, super happy with her experience. This guy is wonderful. I could not be happier. He's super smart, cute, ambitious. But my point behind all of this is that I think that through apps like Tinder or Grindr or whatever it is, from a dating perspective, although good, I think there is that loss of human connection and kind of getting to know someone the way that they did back when we were plowing fields and, our parents were having other people over for Sunday supper and to crochet and things like that. And then you would see, Helen Sue from across the field and you could watch her and her, with her, I don't know, Amish clothes on and stuff like that. It's less, and everything is so sped up now too. Relationships are very fast, especially with the advent of social media. And I know plenty of women who, as soon as they either meet someone on social media or they'll meet that person and say out in public order, they immediately go on and look and they'll find their Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff, and they will research you before they ever get together with you again, just to kind of see who are you and what's going on. And if they like you, I have some of them too who will continue to troll your page and see who are you talking to and why are you talking to that girl? And it's just like, oh my God, that's crazy. So I'm going to take a little break here, though, quickly and mention another show that I'm actually going to be on next week. It's called Not So Kosher. And I love how Becca's got take the kosher out of being Jewish. I really am so excited to meet with Becca because I think she's another mouthy person like me with no filter. And I told her that I'm going to try very hard to make some chocolate babka for the show. But we're going to get together for coffee on Monday just to kvetch together. You like that?
Nice.
And I asked her if she was going to make me some hamantaschen. And she decided, just like a straight man, she was going to phone it in and told me where I could buy some because she doesn't like to have to go through the effort to make it. But very interesting show. They talk, of course, about all things Jewish and all the things that are going on in the Jewish community here within the Twin Cities. And soon to be, you'll understand why the show is titled Not So Jewish. So you can listen and decide which is your favorite shtick each week. Kvetch of the week, Jew-C News. Oh my God, that's so crazy. That is exactly how I would do something. And Juth or Dare. Okay, Becca, if you're listening, you need to do a Madonna's Truth or Dare video parody of that for your podcast and get that up on YouTube. That would be hilarious. So check them out. They're out on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And domestic engineer Becca Kvasnik and comedian Bobby Schnitzer. So I just want to eat all kinds of Jewish food. Have you ever had Jewish food? It's so delicious, Aaron. Those Jews, they know how to cook. There's no doubt about it. There's not a lot of Jewish women that like to cook. I'm going to say that out loud. But the food is delicious. The baked goods are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, have you ever had chocolate babka?
No.
Oh, my God. It's who does a really good job making it. Of course, I'm totally thinking about it in the wrong direction. Is at Breadsmith. They have chocolate babka there. It's almost as good as homemade. It's basically a sweet bread that has, think about like cinnamon bread. You know how it's the cinnamon swirl bread? But it's got chocolate and cinnamon instead of just cinnamon. And then the top is got streusel on it. Authentic babka to me. And then once it's cooled off, you just douse that motherfucker in powdered sugar. It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. So I'll have to make some. Grant does that show, right?
Yep.
Grant is the producer there. So looking forward to seeing him then on Thursday. That'll be nice. But let's move on to a couple of other things that we wanted to talk about. And I have been, and I should probably ask you this question, Aaron. So as you know, I'm working out. Exercise is very important to me. It's kind of a part of my life. I was having this epiphany, not only, of course, about daylight savings time, but also about, why has working out, and I get shit from people actually on social media about, why are you always posting pictures of yourself about working out? Like, do you just think you're that fantastic or what's going on? And I realized this past week that, because I take everything personally, I say I don't, but I can, well, I don't know. I think I do. I think I'm way too, I take everything too personally. But especially when people make generalized statements like that, which is why I like making generalizations on the show, because I feel like since I'm doing it on a show, I can get away with it, but I hate doing that in person. So, but my realization this week about, the working out and the posting pictures is I'm a big dreamer. Are you a dreamer, Aaron?
Definitely.
Are you? I'm all about positivity, love, light. You can accomplish whatever the fuck you want to in your world. Are you that way too?
Oh, yeah.
And I am normally all day long from the time I wake up in the morning. I would like to believe this happens too when I'm sleeping, but I don't have any proof. That all day long, I'm balls to the wall on everything. I am 180 miles an hour. Everything is done with full passion, and just all my energy goes into everything that I do. And my tendency, though, with being that way, is I bite off way too many. Like, I put the whole cake in my mouth. I don't try and take bites of a cake. I will just grab the whole cake and run with it. And what happens to me is that while I'm running with that cake and I'm trying to eat it, I've also got 3 or 4 other cakes that I'm trying to do. So I have all these huge, huge things in my world that I'm trying to accomplish. And what I've noticed over the last year is every 2 to 3 months, and I'm only guesstimating that that's the time frame, I crash. I will have a day where I will crash. I have nothing to give to anyone. I can't talk about anything. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm depressed, but I can't think about just accomplishing anything. I am spent. And I realized this week that the reason that I have resonated with exercise and with sharing my progress through, pictures on social media and talking about it, which is great because I have, and I've said this kind of from day one, if one other person gets inspired or sees that I'm doing it and go, if that sea cow can do it, I can do it. If he can eat Doritos, every once in a while and still exercise, and I don't want to say and lose weight, but become, fit, so to speak, because I have a completely different vantage point or perception of what I look like than what other people see. I know, Aaron, that when you look at me, you're like, that is one hot motherfucker. But when I look in the mirror, I still see, a sea cow. That's what I see. I don't have that, I still see, somebody with a 52-inch waist. So not that I ever had a 52-inch waist. But getting back to point here is that I think why exercise has resonated with me is because it's very accomplishment-based. And I can see it's almost like I didn't have to take the whole cake. I didn't have to take on a massive project. Because like I said, the things that I want to do is like, oh, well, I'm going to get on TV in Chicago, or you meet with Bravo, and then you're thinking, oh my God, well, I'm going to, have my own show on Bravo Television, and I'm going to meet with producers, and I'm going to have this product line, which, by the way, I realized I love the smell. I didn't just realize this. Do you follow me? Are we friends on social media?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I saw your...
I love the smell of a men's locker room. I have never been in a men's locker room that has disgusted me. Not even from a cleanliness standpoint. I guess I'm just blessed wherever I've gone. The smell of a men's locker room is so intoxicating to me. There's sweat and manly, musky smells, but then it's all mixed with all their colognes, and their hair products, and it's just yum. It's so yummy. And it just keeps, I just want to, go around and smell everybody, but I think that I would probably get thrown out of the locker room. But I've decided, and ever since I made this decision this morning, Aaron, it has been on my mind. I've decided I'm going to come up with, of course, I, of course, will need a private investor, so anyone who wants to step in and help me produce this line. And if you steal this from me, I will cut you. But I'm going to come up with a home fragrance line that mimics, replicates several different men's locker rooms because they do smell different. They don't all smell the same. And I've been tossing around, believe it or not, this shows just how motivated I am. I've been tossing around names for my line.
What do you got?
I have 2. Okay. So the first one I want to call Stones. Do you get why I want to call it Stones?
I think maybe I do.
Because Stones is code, of course, for your nuts. And I think that would be, but it's still very nondescript. You know what I mean? But because men are not going to be my client for this line, Aaron. Men are going to be who I'm shopping for. Of course, the women who are going to have to buy it for their, my brother, he wanted me to get that Stones air spray for his bathroom, She rolls her eyes because she knows it's called Stones, which is, like I said, code for nuts. And my only problem with Stones, this is kind of funny, is that I had to think about my logo. And literally the only thing that can come to my mind are two ovals. And maybe what you do, here's what we do, Aaron, is the O in stones is two ovals kind of like intersecting. Wouldn't that be great?
Pair of glistening river pebbles.
That would be good. That would be good. I like the glistening river pebbles. That would be actually really good too. Let me know your thoughts about that. I think stones is good. The other is alpha. That's very manly. And then I had to start thinking about my font. Like, what font would I want to use? Because the name, is powerful and manly and strong. Maybe strong would be a good one to call it. And, of course, I don't know what I would name the scents themselves. That would be very fun. But anyway, so this is going to be my new line. I'm certain this will be out by Christmas, and Target will be selling it. Wouldn't that be funny, though, if I actually did that and then it was a huge seller? That smell. Do you like the smell of a locker room? Have you ever stopped and just like in the locker room?
I think I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah?
Ross. I'm not a big fan of this sweaty
You're not
nuts.
It's not sweaty nuts.
I know. I'm giving you shit.
That's what people said. When I posted that on social, somebody responded and said, well, you forgot to say that it smells like sweaty balls. It doesn't smell like that. And maybe my mind, because I'm gay, perceives it differently. But I just enjoy that kind of manly, all those musky. My sister claims, if she's listening, my niece won't even let me sleep on her bed when I go down there because she said that I stink. And my sister, she doesn't even want me. And when I go down there, I will jokingly go, "Hey, I'm going to go upstairs and roll around on your bed," And she's like, "No." She gets very upset about it. She's old. It's not like she's 3 or anything. But Gretchen literally is like, "No, do not go on my bed." But I sleep on my nephew's bed. My nephew is a teenager now, and of course he's got raging hormones. So I'm not quite for sure who probably stinks more than he would, as far as, from a musky standpoint. But my sister's the only person that has said to me that I have a strong odor, up until this last week when I was talking to someone at Target, believe it or not. I'm just realizing how absolutely random this is. And they were like, "What is that smell? Like, I keep smelling something." And then come to find out it was me. And they were like, "Oh, that's you." And it wasn't. I thought, I said, "Oh, it's my cologne." And they're like, No, they said, "That's not cologne." And I go, "Oh, do I stink like sweat?" And they're like, "That's not a sweat smell." And I'm thinking, do I stink, Aaron? Have you noticed my aura?
I think you usually smell pretty good.
Do I smell pretty
come
good?
in here.
I try to douse myself with cologne. People always give me shit because I usually, take a bath in cologne afterwards. But yeah, well, let me know. You need to let me know.
I'll let you
I'm
know.
still going to work on my line. I like Stones. Let me know what you guys think about Alpha. I think Stones has it's got more commercial feel to it.
I like
That's what I think Stones works good. And I love the glistening pebbles.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good, too. So, but back to the gym and the working out. I've had one more thing happen with me this week that I wanted to get your opinion. Have we got any questions? Does anybody show me any love on our webpage yet? I'm feeling very rejected.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, wow, look at this. Hooray! Hello. Who is it? Is it just one?
Amanda's been chatting with Jackie downstairs. I think they're just talking a little bit about online dating. She wants to know how many platters you think you have.
Well, I probably have, I'm going to say I probably have about 40 to 60 platters, believe it or not. And I don't buy anything at this point now. I don't buy anything that isn't truly unique. I mean, I have all my core pieces, what I would consider my whites, your solids, things like that. I did break down last year and I bought, and I'm going to sound like a hater, I bought a platter that's made in China. But my reason for buying it is because my sister used to have a peacock. She lives in Le Sueur. She had a peacock show up in her yard one day. This was the same year that the bridge went down, and I'm horrible because I don't remember what year that was. And she texted me and said, "I think a peacock is in my backyard." And I said, do you know what a wild turkey looks like? Like, seriously, a peacock. I said, peacocks are native to India. You're in Le Sueur, you know? And she goes, no, seriously, I'm going to take a picture and send it to you. And here was a fucking peacock in her backyard. Yeah, is that not crazy, Aaron?
Where did it come from?
And it actually, come to find out, it was owned by a friend of our family's from a farm several, properties away. And it wandered all the way into my sister's. My sister's a total bird lover. She has that clock that when the hour strikes, it actually just makes bird sounds. You know what clock
My
I'm talking about?
grandparents have that.
Do they? And every time it happens, I'm always taken off guard because I'm like, where's the bird? And but anyways, she had that peacock for years. They named it Itchy. My sister could feed it. I fed it once, and it was it was an amazing experience. And every time, I think that's maybe why I always wanted to just go over there, was because I wanted to see that peacock. But what was so adorable is my sister, the house that she lived in, the lower level was like half into the ground, whatever you'd call that, and split level. And if my sister would go from the kitchen into the dining room or the family room, whatever, wherever my sister was, that peacock would just get up, just, not instantly, but he would notice that she had changed rooms, and then he would get up, and when he walked, his neck would go like that, and which I'm surprised he didn't have neck problems or back problems. But and then he would go and he would sit down in the window right by my sister again. Fucking loved my sister. And it was so crazy seeing all that. So that's why I got that platter. Long story short is because it had this Christmas tree. And in the Christmas tree was kind of this big peacock ornament. So that's where that came from. Thank you for asking me that question, Amanda. Was that my only question?
No, there's all sorts of stuff.
Let's
on here.
answer
I've been
questions.
slacking.
Aaron has been deficient. So but you know what? Before you do this, I wanted to talk about my one last subject, and then we'll go into questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I am a huge, huge fan of wearing compression tights to the gym. I know you are as well, Aaron.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine what you look like in compression tights.
I got chicken legs.
Do you? I'm pretty blessed from the waist down, and I'm going to leave that open-ended just because. And but I like wearing compression shorts now, or compression tights, and I only just recently kind of started wearing them. But because I have so much freedom of movement wearing them, it's like being naked. But you're not. Not that I want to be naked on the gym, and on the weight room floor. I don't. But when you're working out, I don't I'm very weird. I almost feel like maybe, no disrespect, there's my disclaimer, okay? I almost feel like I'm autistic that way. You know how certain autistic people are like anything heavy on them or things like they get all kind of weird about it. No disrespect. One last time, I'm just going to say that. So I feel almost like I'm autistic that way, where I don't want something restricting me. And did someone just hate on me because I just talked about autism?
No.
Oh, and I saw that look on your face, and oh crap! Now I'm going to get in trouble in the Autism Foundation. Jenny McCarthy is going to say, I forget what she's against. Of course, now I'm just thinking euthanize, but vaccinate him. Get him vaccinated. And because she's against vaccinations since she claims that it causes autism. But because she'd be mad at me. You see where my mind is going with this? Anyway, my question was this, is I love wearing compression tights. It's just, I really feel like it's amped up my game at the gym. And I feel kind of hot at the gym. I'm not going to deny it. And but here's my deal. Do you wear... Because to me, compression tights offer, let's just open this up. It offers support. Your junk ain't flying around, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but do you need to wear something underneath them or not? I don't think you have to. But, that's my question. Are you supposed to? And I literally, Aaron, troll Instagram. I follow many attractive people on Instagram, and I've even looked at websites. I'll look at Nike's website or Under Armour's website, and I'll look at those models, and they have the different views, and I'm like, it doesn't look like any of them are wearing underwear underneath those compression tights. This is an honest question. I know you're laughing at me, but I want to know, are you supposed to or not? It looks like the models aren't. So, and it doesn't look, some people on Instagram are, because you can see the waistband of, their, which I'm assuming they're just like wearing boxer briefs or something. But I can clearly tell that some of them aren't. And I mean that because you can, see when you're looking at their hind end if they're wearing any underwear. So, but is there a social, I'm not someone who wants to conform to a social, well, this is what you're supposed to do, so to speak, like, because people don't want to look at your junk. But it's like, I don't wear a crop top to the gym, although I'm sure I look great in a crop top. I'm wearing a shirt that's long enough, so to speak. But what do you think, Aaron? What do you think?
I got nothing for you on
You
this
got
one,
nothing
Ross.
for me on that? That's
no, nothing.
So you have no comment about what you would do if you wore compression tights.
If I wore compression tights, they probably would be my underwear. I'd wear
people
shorts
do
over them.
Well, and that's what some people at my gym do as well. They'll wear shorts over them. But would you wear shorts over them out of modesty?
Yeah.
It's a completely honest question.
Yep.
And modesty because of your legs or modesty because of your junk?
I don't want everybody looking at my junk.
Oh, see, there's the difference between you and me. I'm not ashamed of my junk. How about that? So, like, I don't care. I mean, it just is what it is. There's only so much you can do about it. And it's like those fake bras that women wear, So that's my question, which obviously you can put that up there. You can find me on social media. Let me know your thoughts on that. Should I be wearing underwear or not underneath my compression tights? So far, I don't. And I haven't been kicked out of the gym. That's my big concern, or someone's going to think I'm some perv. But it's not like you can see, And there's that whole thing on the front of them anyways. You don't own any of them, I assume?
I wear compression shorts like when I play basketball.
Sure. So then that like there's a double panel in the crotch area.
Oh yeah, they're very supportive.
Right. So it's not like it's see-through or something like that. Well, that's my point. That's the reason that I'm bringing this up is because you're like, what are you supposed to do? Whoever created this product, what was your intention? So that way I can know, because that's what I want to do.
Let's reach out to the good people at Under Armour.
Right. And you know what? I should do that. That's a very good idea. So let's get to our next question.
All right.
Are they all Amanda? Is she hoarding our time?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I'm so excited.
Anne says, it's more of a comment. She said her mother put mushrooms and potatoes in her chili.
Oh.
That's unique.
Well, if I'm not speaking out of turn, I'm going to say that would be my sister that said that, if it's Ann Yanofsky. And because that's what my mom did. My mom did that as well.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
hey, Ann, our moms both did the same thing. That's so rad. It was good, though. I did enjoy it. My mom's chili's pretty good. It's super easy to make.
Amanda wants to know, do you feel joy when you wear the compression pants? Brendan would love to wear them, but he is afraid his package might be too obvious.
Amanda, I think Brandon Oh, that's right. When she said Brandon, I was thinking of you, Aaron. Can you repeat that again? Because when you said Brandon, I was thinking she was poking fun of you. I know who Brandon is. So, can you repeat her question again? Because I need to fully hear that again.
Do you feel joy when you wear the compression pants?
I feel freedom. I feel absolute freedom.
Brendan would love to wear them, but he is afraid his package might be too obvious.
No, I think, and this is the thing, when you're wearing them, it depends on, because that's kind of the thing with them. You can either pull them up really close to yourself and it's like adjustable support, or you can just have it have it a drop crotch, so to speak. I mean, this is an honest question. And then there's no there's nothing seen. Ain't nothing seen. So, but you really, I mean, seriously, flop around. I mean, come on. I love how everybody wants to talk about how, like, hangs down to their knees, and that's just completely not true. That doesn't happen. And if it does, then that's a curse. I guarantee to you, because nobody wants to get near you. if you've got something like that. I mean, what is with that whole thing? I hate the fact that now we should talk about this, Aaron. What is with that whole thing with us men? Because gay men do it too. We can talk about this some other time, but I'm going to totally just throw this out so that way you can prepare for this conversation. You know, why is that such a boastful thing with us? You know? And I think it's so funny that dudes talk about, like there's so much bravado about how well hung they are, and yet they want to wear shorts over their compression shorts. It's like, well, why do you want to hide it if it looks so good? Like, show it off. I mean, bring it to the garage sale. I mean, you know, it's kind of like, and I don't know if that's maybe just in Minnesota. Like, is that mentality of wearing basketball shorts over your compression shorts? Is that a Midwest thing? Like, is that typical out on the East and West Coast, where I can only assume men are a little bit freer, they're a little bit more outgoing or maybe aggressive? I'm aggressive, and so it was funny because this is what really made me start thinking about it. Is the other day, and Aaron, only you're going to be able to see this because we're not on video. So the other day I was walking toward the locker room, and some guy came out of the locker room, and he looked at me, and and then he looked down, and then his like eyes got big as like, you know, fish eyes or whatever, and he literally kind of moved out of the way, and I thought, holy shit, like, did I intimidate him? I wanted to think that he recognized the alpha male that I am and was paving the way for me because he knew that I was, you know, the dominant male in this pride, but I didn't know, and I didn't want to look and go, what? But it's like, is my dick hanging out? Like, which I knew it wasn't. I actually kind of, when I got into the locker room, I did a quick hand down to see, like, but I pretended like I was scratching my thigh because I thought, is something going on here? And then I walked by the mirror and looked. I mean, this is real life stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
And but that's what then got me thinking, was because of course I didn't have anything underneath, and I was thinking, well, something must be wrong with me. I must be not doing this right. I must not be handling this fashion experience properly, which that's another interesting thing about working out, and then I'm going to shut up, is working out at the gym. There's a guy there, and he's completely now it's become an addiction for me because he's always in some fancy ass clothes. I swear to God, that man has 50 pairs of shoes. He probably doesn't have a girlfriend, is my assumption. Well, that's very wrong of me to say. I'm horrible like that. But he always is like dressed to the nines. He's got the nicest gym clothes on. He's an attractive guy. I'm guesstimating fairly quiet and reserved because he doesn't make eye contact. That's huge for me. If you make eye contact when you're talking to me, don't ever talk to someone and not make eye contact with them because there's just, I don't like that. I don't like, or when you shake someone's hand. If I shake someone's hand and they don't like give me a firm handshake, even as a woman, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, go live under the bridge now. Like, you're just not. Anyways, that's just a joke. So we could talk about that later, though, too. Like fashion, like working out has its own fashion industry, which is just so weird that you have to have a whole wardrobe of clothes to go get sweaty in. Like, isn't that crazy?
You don't want to get your regular clothes sweaty.
Well, no, but I mean, these clothes aren't cheap. You know, you're looking at, I've noticed that with some compression tights, you could spend like $120 for a pair of those compression tights. And of course, they put them in hot people. So you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, look at those. You don't realize how you're going to look at those compression tights. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for listening. We don't have any more questions, right, Aaron?
You're making Jackie choke on her lunch laughing so hard.
Is she really? I'm sorry, Jackie. And thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Jackie, for listening and engaging. Thank you, everybody who is listening and engaging with me. I appreciate it. You can find more amazing episodes at thegoodpodcast.com. Please check out aliveandsocial.com for our other shows. They really, really are fun and entertaining. I've been on the Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty and Chuck. They're hilarious. And and we're always looking for new and interesting things to talk about. So I'll see all you guys later, and have a fantastic weekend. And as always, I want to be your obsession. Aaron.